Habari zenu wa Kenya. Before tuanze mjadala yetu wa leo, je, mnakumbuka hii uongo?
Weka pesa ya serikali kupunguza gharama ya mtungi ya gas. Ile ya kilo 6 mnanunua 2500, 2800, tutaishukisha chini mpaka shilingi 500 ama 300.
Watu wa tutam, very nice. Hiyo uongo ishamachua, mubebe ATM card zenu, muende pale kwa bank, withdraw hiyo uongo. That was the statement made by President William Samoei Ruto on the 2nd of March 2023. Alipoahidi wa Kenya kwamba mitungi za gesi za kupika zitatugharimu shilingi 300 au shilingi 500 pesa za Kenya. And they had to implement this project by removing the 8% VAT on the LPG gases in that financial year. That project could not have been implemented. They had to move it to the next financial year of 2023-2024. Very nice. Kenyans, do you know who was given the tender to implement that project? It is the people called the Taifa Gas. Taifa Gas is owned by a Tanzanian billionaire called Rostam Aziz. Rostam Aziz, tarehe 10 mwezi wa Machi, juzi Jumanne, is the one who acquired the majority 54% stake in the Nation Media Group, officially taking over the leadership and the ownership of the company. Wakenya leo, tukiangalia katika website zetu, ukienda pale Rubis, Peacock, ukienda pale Total Energies, Taifa Gas, a full set of mitungi za kupikia za gesi, it cost between 4,000 to 5,000 Kenya shillings. The Kenyan government was to give hizo mitungi za gesi za kupikia to all Kenyans. Wakabadilisha msimamo, wakasema we are targeting low income household. Apparently you need an ID for you to get or kupata hii mitungi ya gesi, which goes for 1,500 Kenya shillings to Kenya shillings 2,000. Si ile 300 na 500 tulioahidiwa. Mambo inakuwa tamu zaidi, Kenyans. Do you know who is managing this project? Under the initiative of Gas Yetu, the National Oil Corporation of Kenya is the one which is managing this project through a public-private partnership with Rubis Energy. Already for the financial year 2022-2023, they have rolled out 471 million. The other financial year, they rolled out 820 million Kenya shillings. Munakumbuka, the National Oil Corporation of Kenya has officially been privatized. Actually it's on the privatization list. Na wanapanga kui-privatize. Very nice. So it means we are going to give the Kenyan money, the taxpayers' money, to an entity that is going to be privatized. Kenyans, tuendelee mbele. There is another project already under the cycle of the budget policy statement that was approved by the National Assembly hapo Jumanne tarehe 10, which is going to ensure 11,000 boarding schools in Kenya are going to transition to full use of LPG gas. Do you know how much it is going to cost? Under the same initiative, 500 million Kenya shillings. Already piloting imefanywa, wamesema tunataka kuhakikisha 11,000 boarding schools in this country are going to transition into full LPG gas. You know wa Kenya tunapenda mchezo nyingi sana, watu wa tutam. Alafu jana nikaona mambo ya National Infrastructure Fund. They have already confirmed they are going to tarmac. They were to tarmac, but now they have opted to SGR, standard gauge railway, from, I don't know, Nairobi or from Nakuru to South Lokichar. That is 640 kilometers. That is going to cost 220 billion Kenya shillings. Wakenya wazalendo, are you aware the Tulo or the Turkana oil project is no longer under the leadership and the management of the Kenyan government? Tulo Oil exited the plan on July 1st, 2025. After that, it was acquired by Gulf Energy through its affiliate called Auran Energy Group. Now Wakenya munafaa kujua, they fully bought 100% stake of Turkana oil project at the tune of $120 million. $120 million. That is 16 billion Kenya shillings. Na munafaa kujua who is in charge of Gulf Energies, the people who are now managing, who are fully owning the Turkana oil project. Anajulikana kama Francis Njogu, who was appointed by President William Samoei Ruto on December 2022 to be the member of National Investment Council. Another one is called Paul Kiprotich Limo. I don't have to tell you anything. Very nice. Watu wa tutam muzidi kusema tutam, mukikumbushwa The Kenyan government will spend 220 billion Kenya shillings for construction of SGR to South Lokichar for a project they are not even owning 100%. It is owned by a private entity. Akina Esunyen, Akina Ekiru, you shall only be entitled to 5% of the project. Kenyans, there is only one solution to all this problem. Mukate kura. Wakenya. Tumakinike sana. There was a pastor in central Kenya who convinced his followers that he saw the sightings and the image of Holy Mary in his church. Little did the followers knew that the pastor used the projector that he hid in the rooftop, which coincided with the reflection of the sun, and the image was posted to the church walls. Wafuasi wakalia wakasema tumeona Holy Mary. Kinyanjui, Kariuki, of all the places, uliamua kuamini kwamba Holy Mary atakuja Kamakis, pale karibu na Nyamachoma, pale Muhoko, si ndio? Ruiru. Holy Mary hakukuja pale Egypt, hakukuja Italy, hakukuja Ethiopia, aliamua akuje Central, si ndio? This is the reason why it is so easy for the same pastor to convince you to vote for someone like William Samoei Ruto. To our Muslim brothers, you cannot critique any leader from Northern Kenya because of the Wahhabism. You can go and search about it. This is a radical, rigid fundamentalist who cannot allow you to critique leaders. That is why in Northern Kenya, you think when people get married, sometimes you feel like everyone is an Arab. Wamevaa zile thobes za Waarabu. You will even think Muhammad bin Salman amefika nyumbani ama ako Northern Kenya. The names, the drama. A typical lady from Northern Kenya today, she watches nothing short of Turkish drama. Jina ni kama gani ataki. Marashi ambaye unafaa kumnunulia before umoe ni marashi imetoka Saudi Arabia. You know, all this conditioning, guys, is what is making us so easy to elect these kind of people. Because they use the church, they use the mosque and mix it with politics. There are people in this country, I'm not going to mention them, who believe that they are descendants of the Arab tribes. And some of them even, they say, we are descendants of Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him. Ndugu yangu tulikolonizwa na wewe hapa, tumesikiza rumba na wewe hapa. Sijawahi sikia wazazi wako wameenda huko, wametravel huko kwa Arabu. Who convinced you that you belong to those people? And some of you will not be ready. The moment tutaenda pale Uarabuni, ndugu yangu, you will be given a top level of racism. You will even wonder what is happening. And yet, both of us, both of you and I and that Mwarabu are Muslims. You can never convince Kiprono of African Inland Church of Eldoret that indeed hakuna kitu inaitwa promised land. Huwezi mwambia. Kiprono anaamka asubuhi pale Mulot, pale Mosoriot. Kiprono, what you don't know is ukienda pale Jerusalem leo ndugu yangu utafukuzwa vibaya sana. Kiprono apparently is more religious than the custodians of the religion themselves. Ana pray, anafanya libation, ana perform kila kitu. That is the same case with Otieno of Catholic Church from Kisumu. You know, guys, when you are convinced that indeed the stupidity these church and the mosque leaders will give you is the essence of the truth, it becomes so easy for somebody to play with your mind. Sitaki kutaja watu. Wale watu wamepasua suti pale nyuma into two. Munajijua, wale munafagianga barabara na maji pale Nakuru. Why is it that if indeed the guy you are following ni nabii, mbona anatumia ndege akienda Marekani? Why can't he teleport through the clouds? Because those are one of the basic tenets of a prophet. Lakini unaambua pale siku kucha, siku nenda, siku rudi, that huyo ni nabii. This is the same predicament Mackenzie used on Kenyans. Akaua watu wengi. Because of the brainwash. Because the politicians, they know if there is one sanctity they will never take for granted, is how Kenyans are so much fixated to the institution of religion. Mambo ya kufagia barabara munajua. Muslims in this country, they steal from the poor people and they go and spend the best portion of their money in Dubai because they want to appease the image of their enslaver, the Arabs who enslaved us for 1,300 years. The same way with the Russian guy. The same thing he did with the Kenyans there. I'm telling you, it's only that for Northern Kenya, haikufanyika. If a Turkish, a Middle Eastern, an Arab guy will appear from the desert of the Jordan, na atoke pale Mandera, Isiolo, Garissa, Wajir, Marsabit, it will be the end of the world. for many people and their marriages. But we are not ready for this conversation, you know? We are not ready for this conversation. And that is why we are battling with a sense of colorism. Unataka, ukienda pale Northern Kenya, you can never find a dark-skinned person. You know the answers for yourself. The same case, we are always obsessed with wazungus. Wazungu tukiwaona, we don't want to ask them credible questions. Mtu akiona mzungu anaona maisha yake imekuwa alles good, vile Wajerumani wanasema. Kenyans, the moment akina Kiprono, akina Fara, akina, Kinyanjui, you will be told there is nothing like Holy Mary. Uache kudress kama Muhammad bin Salman. Muachane na hizi aesthetics. Muachane na hizi upuzi of you believing that you can always live up to the superiority of the people who started the religion themselves, the custodians, and you pose a picture of becoming even more religious than them. Inafaa kuisha. Kenyans, the moment we are going to understand this, the better for us. And the better for us to elect credible leaders. But as far as this is continuing na inaendelea, ndugu yangu, hakuna siku we are going to be free from the religious institutions and when it comes to electing credible leaders. Najua itauma wengi, lakini that is it. Wakenya tuzidi kumakinika.